A lot of times we look at different organizations and they're only as good as what you put in. The old computer expression, garbage in and garbage out. When you're taking the hands-off approach, you're doing the self-managing approach, how do you make sure that they're getting the right and the highest quality information with which to make decisions and keep moving the organization forward? A lot of times in the book, or not a lot of it, in various places, you talk about data and the importance of the data and getting that data to the right people in a context. So what other places is garbage in, garbage out also important?
It's an interesting question. One thing that comes to mind is thinking about when companies decide to make the shift to self-management and what to do with financial information. If you want people to be more responsible for the company being profitable, or you want people to set their own salaries, then they need to have full access to all of the company's financial information, profit and loss and everything. But that's in itself, that raw data is utterly meaningless if I've never read a P&L before, or if I don't know what that means. So I think one thing to think about is that there is, of course, like the data and making sure that it's available and accessible, but also, what training do people need, or what support do people need to even make sense of information? And then how do you support people to then make decisions based on that information? So I think this is where, I'm a big believer in whether you have someone externally or internally, but having someone who is very kind of coaching role that's supporting the group to ask these kinds of questions, and again, to build the capacity in teams and individuals to, and this comes back to the psychological safety piece again, to kind of say, I'm not sure we're using this information right, or I'm not sure this information is accurate, or we're not getting this information in a timely enough manner. Like, what's going on? And I think Frederick Laloux has some great videos actually as well, about the fact that if you are a leader, for example, and you see that people haven't fully taken ownership in the organization, it might be because they're not close enough to the data, and they're not close enough to the outcome of the work they're doing. They don't feel the pain and they don't feel the joy directly. So then you need to design processes or systems together that mean that they do experience that, because it's one thing to let a customer down and never see them, for example. But if I'm in a room with them and I have to explain and I see the disappointment on their face, suddenly it becomes much more real, and I have a totally different relationship to that decision or that that failure. So I think transparency of information is super important, but it's more complicated than that in a sense. And I think, again, for me, it comes down to having radically different kinds of conversations where we talk about, right, what's needed? What kind of information do we need? Do we, is it still being held somewhere, even if in a small way, because that's still a kind of hallmark of a top-down organization.